millions and millions of dollars.
Many monies. Hold on a second. Let me. I'm bringing it up as well.
And so I think we should be live. Hello, everyone.
Oh.
I think. I don't know. The clock is ticking in the top, which either means we're live or I'm dying.
Clock's
slowly.
ticking. What a metaphor.
Exactly. The clock is ticking on all of us, my friend. The clock is ticking.
That's fair. The clock is ticking on all of us. You, me, you.
Yeah,
me,
you're
me.
the host. You got the voice, man.
I'm not the host.
You're the
I would have been the
You're
host,
always
but
the
you
host.
set this up. I don't know if you noticed the last one of these I hosted. I actually added the theme music.
I did notice that.
Nice
I
touch,
really
wasn't
liked
it?
that. It was a great touch.
It's very easy to upload it. I don't know.
I
if
know, but then like,
But
I gotta
who wants
do
to
it.
do
I
things
gotta
like
do
that?
It. I gotta do it. And that's
It's
cool.
2 seconds of effort, and then you just
Yeah,
click
man.
the little. See the noodles here, and once you know people are here, that's when you hit play. You just kind of welcome them in.
You can, yeah, that's good. You can
Welcome
be host.
to the. Michael says, "Hey, Ann's and J Money." Yes, this is Ann Ramaswamy.
Is the Ann and J Money Hour brought to you by AJ's, where we are discussing. What a strange game!
That was
like,
annoying,
even if we won, like,
stupid,
what a
annoying
strange game.
Yeah. Let's. We're going to give some perspective here. That was Purdue's first loss since December 21st. I'd like to point out that's 1 month ago. That's a while. Purdue's won a bunch of games in a row.
Yeah.
So, I'm. Well, before we talk about all that, let's thank our friends at AJ's.
Oh,
Anish is sporting AJ's apparel, which
it's been a while.
you can get at AJ's if you get a job with AJ's. Then you too can have an AJ's sweatshirt. I do think that's the only way you can get it. I don't think they sell merch, which huge missed opportunity, guys. You're welcome.
Exactly.
Oh,
Great
I would like
idea.
a cut of all
the first
merch
idea.
sales.
Invented merchandising.
Burgers, beef, beer, AJ's. Go to AJ's on Vine by the fire station. You know where it is. You don't need us to tell you, but we are contractually obligated to tell you. They are, as Boiler Dad likes to say, you go to the fire station and turn left. He only approaches from one direction. I don't know, like his favorite band, One Direction. We'd also like to thank Home Field Apparel, enter Boiled25 at checkout. Get 15% off your first order. Good stuff at Home Field Apparel. Good people, good stuff. TA Toms, you will not get this at Home Field, but there's always a few people in the comments who also went for Penny Beer Night back when I was there. Maybe we even crossed paths. Maybe we were even there at the same time. It's possible. Anyway, back to the present day, where Purdue fans the world over are extremely spoiled and are extremely upset at this loss. No,
I mean, it's both. Well, you can be both. Like, you can rationally
two
be
things
both.
can exist. Yes,
Yeah.
two things can
Yeah.
be true.
Exactly.
Yes, you can be annoyed by this loss. I find it annoying more than anything. I'm firmly in the camp of, like someone's mom might say, you can't win them all. No, true, but I kind of thought that they would win this one because I felt like most people that 5 losses is probably going to be the Big Ten champ, right? Somewhere around there, somewhere in the 4 to 6 range, I think is fair to say. If you're in that, you're going to be in contention to win it. And Purdue only has 2 now, but I really didn't think this was going to be one. I thought this week was going to go well with these home games. And then it was going to get really trying when they had to do this on the road. But if you went into that stretch with only one conference loss, then maybe good things happen. Maybe you lose a couple of those and you're fine. You're fine. This is what Purdue teams do, though. They'll do weird things and then they'll go into February and just mash
the painter's month. So let's first start kind of specifically with this game and then zoom out. The first half was just I feel like I've watched enough basketball games where I know what small first half leads are good.
Risky,
are good, and then which ones are in danger.
Fool's gold.
Yeah, exactly. That one, the entire time, felt like it was just not, like it felt flimsy. It's the same thing like Ohio State is playing poorly. Purdue's not hitting any shots. I think there were 0 fast break points in the first, or 0 or 2 fast break points in the first half. There were a good amount in the paint. But that showed it was like entirely half-court game. There weren't too many steals. It wasn't too much plus on the rebounding battle. So it felt lethargic. The numbers looked lethargic, and only one made 3-pointer. And so that's I don't know, like that. I think out of how many, only like 5 attempts. I think I have this up, but yeah, in the first half, 5 attempts. one made, and it's like it. I know they were making a concerted effort to go inside. The first half, Jakari Harris, and C.J. Cox were both very good, kind of picking up when Braden Smith went into foul trouble, but it still felt like a fool's gold first half, didn't it?
Yeah, I guess from that perspective, but I also feel like you're playing a team that's not. I mean, we can argue. I mean, there are people who feel Ohio State's not good. I think because you're looking at a 10-8, 2-5 record, but Ohio State's always got dudes. They've always got talent. So they're not, and they'd lost. I think it was 3 straight 1-possession games is what the stat they kept throwing up there. So I don't totally love to play that game when you're like they could be 5-2. Well, sure. But that's how 1-possession games work. They're, statistically, they probably shouldn't be 2-5. And they probably shouldn't be 5-2, right? Somewhere in the middle, more likely. But I would say to your point about felt like fool's gold. Yeah, but they're playing kind of you thought not as good of a team, and you're at home. So, I mean, no matter how you get there, they were out. It was 41-5 right before the end of the first half, and then Ohio State hits the 3, and then starts off the second half on a 17-2 run, which was really a 20-2 run when you factor in that 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then they had a 15-0 run in the final couple minutes.
That was the killer, right? Because Purdue Purdue
got
then
it up to a
responded.
6-point lead.
Exactly. Purdue then responded, and you thought that, to me, I thought that was, I was going to talk about this, which is I assumed after that the Mackey magic kind of kicked in, and Purdue wins that game, but they lose that game on the road for sure, or they lose that game on neutral on a neutral court for sure. But then Ohio State went on that run. I mean,
usually you don't have multiple runs like that in you, and no team, right? When
totally,
you have to go, the thing I always feel like I kind of just calm myself when I start getting nervous is a team that has to go on a 17 or a 20-2 run to come back from being down 16. That's usually their shot, right? And once they've shot it, that's all they've got. And if you can then quell that and get it back ahead by 6, maybe a little more, it's over because they can't do it again. And then they did it again. So you can combine those 2 runs. What is that, 35-2?
And that second run as well was it wasn't just the 15. It was the 15 and whatever 5 or whatever 8 possessions, but it was the 0 too. And the 0 was off of, they kept trying to go to the pick and roll, or the pick and post basically. Mm-hmm. And so the high screen and post for exactly, high screen and then into the post to TKR. And for some reason the turnovers didn't count as turnovers, or maybe there weren't, maybe those were their only turnovers of the game, because I don't think either of them finished with more than 3. I think TKR had 3 and Braden had 1 logged. But every time, in that stretch of the game, they would kind of half front, and every time it would be a Braden Smith bounce pass into the post, right? And then they just got deflection after deflection every time. It's almost like the rhythm that they got on offense, they got on defense. They got timing the post passes and things. Mm-hmm. To me, that, obviously that run, now Purdue had chances because this game was dumb. Purdue had chances at the end to keep it close, to kind of win. I don't know. I don't know if I would classify that as a chance to win, but it was always just about a point out of reach. So to your point, it took a extremely bad Purdue shooting night and 2 Ohio State runs that shouldn't have happened for them to win by 1 point. Well, that being said, they should not be winning in Mackey, right? It shouldn't be that close. So that tells you 2 things, right? One, and this is, I think, where you were starting, which is how did this team perform today? And is this performance or the last week closer to what Purdue's reality is? You know what I mean? Right. Yeah, they probably shouldn't have lost this one, but they probably shouldn't have won at Oregon, right? I don't think Oregon was as good as their ranking, but still, that's all the way across the country. I think I'm looking at a map. I don't know. Let me pull it up. But those are difficult road games.
That's
I know exactly. He's seen the Statue of Liberty 3 times this week. I think he said that, right?
But he first said the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, that's
and
tremendous.
He caught himself, which was awesome.
That's tremendous. It's all
all
made by the French. It's fine.
Exactly. It's all the same. When you're live in LA, you don't know what any of that is. Micah Parrish also, by the way, you talk about what it took. Took Micah Parrish shooting 80% from the field and 75% from deep. He shot 6 of 8 from deep, and it felt like 15 of 17 from deep. The dude just, they were not easy threes either.
If I was not a Purdue fan, like that would have been incredible.
You would have fallen in love tonight.
Yeah, I mean, like that was so good. Like I love those dudes that hit, like, that go on those kind of insane runs, and but like. A lot of it was on poor switching. A lot of it was Fletcher Lawyer kind of losing track. One of them late was Caleb First just completely botching a rotation. It was tough. Like it was tough to watch. Again, Caleb First has had a great couple of weeks, and today was
not a good game today.
No, not a good game at all.
But just to, by the way, Micah Parrish shoots 34% from 3, and he shot 29% from 3 last year. So I'm just bringing that up, not to make excuses. Purdue definitely earned this loss. But when you talk about, I liked how you put this is what had to happen for this game to go this way. That also had to happen. If he doesn't have that game, Purdue still wins today, despite not playing well. And you can argue if you want to find your, I saw someone in the comments say this is a good loss. Painter's good. Not that they didn't say it was a good loss. They said Painter's good at dealing with this kind of a loss, right? This is learning opportunity.
Oh, I bet he's thrilled. Honestly, I bet he's like kind of thrilled.
He's fine. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, this is a learning.
Stop it.
This is a learning moment. Yeah, exactly. And
get these stupid ones out in January.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, so there were good things that happened. There were bad things that happened, right? The good thing is that they weathered the first storm. They came back, regained composure, and got that. Now it was just about like why, those repeated turnovers, and then even in that stretch, it wasn't just turnovers. Braden wasn't hitting those mid-rangers.
Yep.
Why? Like,
he was bad from the floor.
I think Newbert was talking about dead legs. I think we can talk about maybe the foul trouble, maybe the guards, maybe the play of the guards is a little bit more aggressive than he's used, or than just fit tonight, and maybe it just kind of wore him down. But I don't know, but it was kind of that level of it was a perfect storm, and you kind of want Braden to get angry after this, right?
I mean, what about the 3 for 9 from deep for the game? Only 9 attempts. Conversely, Ohio State took 23 from deep, only 9 for Purdue. I mean, we could look back if we did any preparation, we'd tell you the last time that Purdue shot that few 3-pointers.
Yeah.
The starters were 1 of 6 from deep. Fletcher only shot 2, but he was 6 of 12 from the field. That's an interesting game from Fletcher Lawyer. You haven't seen too many games where he shoots 50% from the field, takes 12 shots, 10 of which are inside the arc. I mean, that's unusual, I think, for Fletcher Lawyer. He still had 15 points. Since I'm on this, I'll just mention he had 15. Braden had 12 points on 3 of 14 shooting. Woof. Trey Kaufman-Renn had 26 on 11 of 16. He had 7 rebounds. 2 assists. Braden had 8 assists, 5 rebounds. So 3 of 9 from deep. It's fourth straight game where they have not shot the 3 well.
That's it, and not shot it at volume. The only 3 games that were under 15 3-pointers attempted have been the last 3 games.
Okay.
And so it's like it's not a great
stats department coming through.
It's not a great stretch, right? And so that is. I mean, this is going to cause a little bit of a reset, which is good. Like, again, Purdue grabbed a couple of games. Like, it had a good couple of weeks after a shaky, after a good start and a shaky, December, right? And it's just like, that's probably what this team was going to be. And so now it's like, how do you how does this team move forward, right? Look at the 3-pointers attempted. Look at Braden's efficiency in the next 2 weeks, and that is kind of how you'll know. It's again, strangely, Caleb First has been a very key part of this. But what were you saying?
I just was going to say, it's interesting that the narrative of good start, shaky middle, then good again. They really weren't shaky. I will push back on that because they had one questionable loss, and that was the Penn State loss.
Yeah.
And weird shit like that happens to Purdue and to all Big Ten teams. It was on the road. It was not a great loss. I'm not going to defend it, but their other losses were to a really good Marquette team, to where they got smoked. a good Texas A&M team and a very good Auburn team, maybe
the best team in the country. I think the best team in the country,
right? So this, so this one you can't lose this at home.
No.
I don't want to say you can't because they just reeled off, what was it, 7 in a row, 8 in a row, 7 in a row. I mean, they won at Rutgers, at Washington, at Oregon, at Minnesota. Like let's just.
So
I guess
there
what I would
is,
say is
where are they? So it is somewhere between that Oregon performance and this. And actually, maybe Oregon was probably about what Purdue is, I think. Like playing on the road like that, keeping composure, closing the game on the road like that. Again, not in a particularly tough road environment, but closing tough.
But man, they never
minimizing mistakes.
They kept them at bay against Oregon. They never really.
And then contrast that with today, which is like, you don't take the easy stuff, right? I mean, Braden was missing a ton at the rim. Braden missed a couple at the rim. Fletcher was fine. I think he had an all right game. He was attacking the rim and finishing, and that's been such a cool improvement to see over the last 2 years for him. But defensively, it's tough. Miles has been kind of also pretty invisible on offense. Again, strangely, like when he's on the floor, you notice him on the other end, and so that's tough. And then when you're relying on freshmen, you're going to get waves, and especially in January, February. Like, this is when the freshman wall hits. Now, they had great first halves, but expect that in the next couple of weeks. Like, I think if something happens there, it's probably going to be Cox and Harris hitting a little bit, or hitting another wall maybe, or hitting a little bit of a slowdown. And that is where Miles Colvin has to pick it up. That's where Cam Heide has to pick it up. Like, these are the vets, right? They had a couple. Cam Heide had a great kind of hustle play at the end there, but again, that was after the 0-15, 0-15 run.
I think it's tough to recover. Again, we want to lop another thing on there as to what else contributed to this. When you get zeros on the board from Caleb First, Cam Heide, and Miles Colvin all in the same game, and Braden's not having a great game, like, that's a lot to overcome. You can't have all of that go wrong. And I think we've talked in the past about, and this was more when they had Zach Edey, and you were like, when are these things going to all these things going to happen? Where this doesn't go, and this doesn't go, and this doesn't go. Those things, I remember last year a few times we said, well, it's going to be rare that none of this is working.
Yeah.
And it was true. It was very rare that none of it was working. And Purdue this year has had games where a lot of things, that West Coast trip, the shooting was not there at all. And they ground out those wins and really did not make it that adventurous. So again, the thing that was, you mentioned the dead legs, which I have a bit of an issue with because, okay, this is the Big Ten season. Like, I know they went out West, but so what? Now they have off till Friday. They play a game Friday, and then they have a week off before they play IU. So I hope everyone's legs are nice and rested, and nobody's tired for that game, because that one will be – those next two now are pretty important, Michigan and Indiana. Those are big. You lose those two, and all of a sudden you can say, I think, goodbye to winning the conference.
I think
they're home games.
100%.
You win them.
You have to. And after Michigan and Michigan State's tough couple of weeks, combined with Purdue's very good couple of weeks, Purdue shifted into the favorites for the Big Ten, and now I have to wait on the probabilities to refresh, but it's probably now a dead heat again, because this was a game that I think Purdue was like Ken Pom predicted pretty clearly in Purdue's favor. So again, it's going to be close, kind of coming down to the wire, and the Big Ten winner is going to have more losses than the typical year. So,
do you think so? Because right now Michigan State only has 0.
Well, yeah,
Michigan has 1.
Michigan is the one that slipped unnecessarily, and so I don't know. I think they will. I don't think either of those teams are resilient. I don't know. I'm not impressed by either one of those teams. They're not kind of and Purdue isn't that impressive. Purdue is very good, but it's like
we said this going into this year, and that's what this other point I wanted to make on this post game is that if you're letting this bother you a little too much, remember this is a 7-2 conference team in the year that I think most of us agreed was like a house money year, right? Like you did not go into this year thinking Purdue's going to go to the Final Four or win the Big Ten. You want those things, but I don't think you reasonably thought that this young team or a team relying on young guys that just lost Zach Edey was going to necessarily do that. And they're in contention. You're now thinking it's very possible, and it still is. If you go into the tournament with a 2 or 3 seed, then wow, then a lot of good can happen. And my thought from the start of the season was the great thing about this team is they're going to be very tough to take out of a tournament because of their experience, because of Braden Smith. They're going to be tough out.
You got to see it the next 2-3 games though. Like that's the big thing. Like your point of this 2-3 game stretch is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Like it's going to tell you. I think that's a great point that this is probably what determines whether Purdue.
Kind of it.
Yeah, like whether Purdue can win the Big Ten. And we'll see. Like again, watch for Braden Smith's efficiency always. TKR's rebounding numbers, TKR's obviously like field goal percentage, 3 points attempted. The hustle stats. Like these are the things that Purdue needs to win. And kind of put together this kind of run. I don't know. We'll see. I still think that this has, again, the narrow lens is that this was an unbelievably frustrating game. And, the first half was no energy. Second half, aside from that middle stretch, was very, very sloppy. Yeah. And I'm still feeling good about the season. Like I'm not feeling that there is a fatal flaw for this team. I'm not feeling that there is anything unrecoverable. And so we'll see. Well, like this is, but I do think still that the standard is winning the Big Ten. And so the Big Ten, and that'll be won or lost in the next 3 games, I think. And then I think we can, then once we get a little bit more, other than just like one game lost in 7 or 8, the last 7 or 8 games, like this isn't quite enough for me. So let's keep it going. Let's, it'll be fine, I think.
Brian T says, is that a T.A. Tom sweatshirt? Yes, it is. Chris R says, tell Boyle Dad he can't skip any more post-game shows. Tell you what, Chris, you can skip all the post-game shows you'd like. That's my invitation to you.
It's worth the price. Worth the price of entry is what I say.
What else? What else you got?
Maybe I'm still going. Maybe I'm still high, man. Maybe I'm still high off the Final Four. Like maybe that's really what it is, and I feel great now. I don't feel. I know. Oh, that one, the Final Four in Phoenix.
Still valid Final Four. There has not been another one since then.
Really? Wow.
Just saying.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
Mohill
cool.
93, by the way, go back a little bit, says that Painter is 0-2 versus Jake Diebler. Yeah, so he's going to make Jake Diebler's career is what he's going to do. There's always somebody who doesn't have Painter's number for like a year or two, right? It was Chris Beard. There have always been guys who you're like, man, he just struggles with that. He had trouble with he seems to have trouble with Chris Collins.
I was gonna say there was at the beginning of the Collins stretch, and then in the last 2 years somehow Northwestern is kind of always there, and then obviously Pike-Hole, right, and Rutgers during that.
Although he seems to have righted things a little bit.
Yeah,
but those are guys you can name off the top of your head that you're like, this guy knows how to play for, and every one of them shows a lot of respect for Painter and knows how good he is, but they seem to kind of, as much as you can have his number, they seem to have. And Jake Diebler, best record in all of America against Matt Painter.
Look at that. It's like Joe Tillers against Nick Saban.
Jake Diebler has this job because of Matt Painter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he was a coach who got elevated because they were like, well, we got to get rid of Holtman. This is embarrassing. You can coach this week, Jake. And then they beat number 2 Purdue, and he got the job. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. It's
fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's entirely fine. You know what? If that's who Ohio State wants to use,
I was gonna say
nothing against Jake Diebler.
And this is
ain't ready for the Big Ten though.
And the point of being frustrated about this loss is that was a mediocre Ohio State team with some talented players that played way over what they've been playing this year, right?
For a half.
Exactly. For a half. And so like. That is frustrating, but that's also like Ohio State is not a threat. Ohio State is not that great. And even though they've been close, they've got talented players, and maybe I don't know later in the year, next year, it'll show up. But this is not a team that Purdue should have lost to. But it took an otherworldly kind of stretch, and that's again partly Purdue's fault. But yeah,
Brock Stepler says, "What's going on here? Don't get on Twitter because the world is ending and Painter can't
know.
coach." You're kidding. People are overreacting on the interwebs, particularly on X Twitter.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe.
It's hard. Yeah. It seemed like at the beginning of the season, it was like, was it just a Zach Edey merchant and, all of these things? And it's like, guys, like it's fine. They spent the entire pregame drooling like over the fact that he was like everybody except Jalen Rose, like drooling over like how great of a coach he is. Like it's fine.
Oh, no one doubt. That's the nice thing is that no one doubts Painter anymore.
Yeah.
Like I think they could go on a little spin and they could have trouble and no one would doubt that he's the guy who can figure it out. It's not that anymore now. I mean, this is what happens. You've raised the floor here.
Yeah.
He's raised the floor so high.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see?
Great.
By the way, speaking of pregame, or I guess it was pregame, Matt Painter is 4th all time in Big Ten victories.
Yep.
4th all time.
And I'm pretty sure 1, 2, or 1, 3, and 5, or no, 2, 3, and 5, or something like that are like all Purdue people. Yeah, the 3 Purdue kind of basketball legends. And so it's like, yeah, this is well, it's pretty fun.
It's not that I'm not being Purdue centric. I'm simply saying,
Paint's already there.
Our little Matty Painter is up to number 4 all time.
I know, and he's going to keep going.
Getting old.
He's going to keep going as long as he wants to, and then he's going to hand the reins to PJ, and that's what it's going to be. We know this.
I mean, what do you think? 60?
Man, I don't know. He is too level-headed of a guy to be doing this for too long. You know what I mean?
He's got that Jay Wright in him.
I know exactly.
I mean, let's dream of the fun scenario where he wins a national title or two. Then you are Jay Wright, and you go, you know what? I've done it.
I've done it. Goodbye.
I'm gonna go sit on the dock and enjoy myself.
With
how good would he be in a studio, though? How great would he be?
I want to just hang with him, man. Even though he didn't take any transfers, and that is a cardinal sin.
That is a terrible offense.
6 freshmen
like
and no cardinal transfers.
Just because someone doesn't do something doesn't mean that they're not able to do something. That's the thing that
it's the choice. And I think the same folks would also complain that the state of college sports is weird because rosters are changing constantly, and you don't get the chance to grow with teams and players anymore. Like you don't get a chance to connect with the roster anymore. Well, Painter brings 6 talented freshmen, which includes 1 0-star that vaulted straight into the starting lineup. Like, yeah, I think he's good at this. I think he knows what he's doing. I think this is going to pay off. It's fine. I don't think the transfer thing is an issue. Getting off 3-pointers is an issue. Those late missed Braden Smith shots from the mid-range and those TKR post turnovers are the problem, but we can figure that out.
And building a program the way he does, what if, let's say, a governing body were to exist?
Gasp.
And suddenly there were some rules around contracts and length, and you had to build a team that would stick together for a little while. Oh, whoa, maybe program building will be back in vogue.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's all cyclical, and the way that he's building is the most stable way to do it. Every coach is jealous that Paint can still build this way.
It's still okay to do it that way.
Yeah, but most people can't because it's hard to retain like that, right?
And it may turn out to be that way. When this next crop kind of graduates out, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll have to go. And he's also shown when he needed to go get a guy like Lance, he goes and gets a guy.
Yeah. So I think the transfer stuff is not the issue. Today seemed like a I don't know. It's kind of weird to say Purdue was lethargic in Mackey, but like Purdue was a little bit lazy. I don't know. Again, I don't know if I want to blame it on dead legs or not. Sometimes you're just lazy. You know what I mean?
They have dead legs out west too. I mean, they didn't shoot well there either.
Exactly. And then scheming for the 3-pointers, like not getting enough space on the perimeter. I think that is a big one. So, and it's a great point. I think that's the point. You made the point of the evening, Jay Money.
Amen.
Where the next 2-3 games, this will determine if Purdue can win the Big Ten.
And you have time. You have what you would want, I would say. You've got a few more days before you got that Michigan game. Then you have a week to prepare for IU, and I'm sure Painter likes that. I mean, And maybe you're playing. You could be playing a dead man walking IU team, or you could be playing a hot back. They've shown some life of late. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say what you'll be seeing, but you got them at home, so you better win it because you got to go down there too.
Yep, exactly. So we'll see. The sky isn't quite falling, but it's okay to be a little frustrated. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be
they're a game back, everyone.
Irked. But yeah, exactly.
One game back. They're 7-2. Michigan State's 7-0. So it's that weird sort of. They've played 9. Michigan State's played 7. So Purdue's 2 half games back or a game back.
And Michigan State has not played a devil of a schedule yet. So
no, they're toughest.
They're backloaded. So we'll see.
And you want to take a look at that. They have at Rutgers versus Minnesota and at USC and at UCLA coming up. So they don't exactly they have 4 more where they could literally win all of them and be 11-0.
Yeah.
At which point they'll probably be the number 1 or 2 team in the country. Then they play Oregon at home and Indiana at home. Then it finally gets tough. They go to Illinois on the 15th. They host Purdue on the 18th. They go to Michigan on the 21st. So that's their 3-game span.
There's their stretch, yeah.
They got to do Illinois, Purdue, and Michigan 3 straight. But then they got Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan to end the season. So I would say the schedule does bode well for them. I mean, I could see them only losing 2 or 3 out of that, which, shoots a hole in the 5 losses is going to win the conference. That's always worried me. The further a team goes with 0 or 1 losses, the more I think, man, 5? They're really going to lose 5? But there's still a long way to go. That's the crazy thing. We're not even halfway through the conference schedule.
That's a great point. I think that's the point to end this with. It's like we're halfway. This is the halfway point. Yeah. You can evaluate, don't use tonight to evaluate them, but we've got a half a season worth of data. And so let's
I think we know
kind of
they're
widen the lens. Let's widen the lens, and it's, and we'll see the next 2 games, and then kind of rounding out against Iowa. We'll figure it out. Hey, man. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see all of you, or most of you in the comments. It's nice to see you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll make sure we get Boiler Down back to you very soon.
I know Chris R. was just joking, but it's fine. It's fine. I think that's it. We'll see you. I think, I don't know how we got stuck with this strange one. It could have been great for us just to talk
about.
We're
reputation if this happens again.
I know, exactly. I don't know. Like we can't
even be like they knew too, because Boiler Down gave them the heads up that they might get you on this one.
Yeah, so don't say it out loud.
Exactly.
Don't say it out loud.
Count the gods.
That's it. High up on the thing. Yeah, it's fine. Well, we'll see you the next time. Hopefully Purdue loses. I don't know. That might be the next time you see me. But either way, it'll be unannounced. Do I say the line? I love you guys. Good night.